Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have Loop Industries, Inc. It trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol LOOP and is a technology company whose mission is to accelerate the world's shift towards sustainable PET plastic and polyester fiber and away from our dependence on fossil fuels. Please welcome the head of IR, Kevin O'Dowd. Nice to see you, Kevin.
Thank you, Anna. Good morning. I'm Kevin O'Dowd, head of IR at Loop Industries. Loop was founded in 2014. Over the last several years, we've spent upwards of $150 million developing and refining our technology. We've gone from lab scale, pilot scale, demonstration scale, to now having a pilot commercial production facility just outside of Montreal in Terrebonne, Quebec. We're launching broad-scale commercial of this technology, world-class partners. First and foremost, in a very exciting part of the world for us, the Asian market. We're expanding with a very strong strategic partner, SK Geocentric, who back in June of 2021 took a 10% ownership stake in Loop, and we're now starting to plan and enroll projects across Asia. Then right behind that is our European facility in partnership with SK and Suez, the large French water and waste management company. So what I'll do is I'll put up the slide deck and walk you through presentation. There's a huge global plastic waste problem. I think everybody knows about this. A tremendous need for more recycling, more recycled content, and Loop's technology is the perfect fit to help with the PET and polyester fiber segments. PET plastic, the #1 used plastic for packaging, polyester fiber clothing, carpets. I don't think that gets spoken about enough. Where a water bottle and a pair of my wife's Lululemon yoga shorts are made with the same base chemicals. They're equally as pollutive. And while that water bottle has become the symbol of pollution today, there's a lot more to this market than just water bottles. And that's key because Loop's technology is designed to handle all forms of PET plastic and polyester fiber waste. So what does Loop do? At the end of the day, we're a chemical manufacturer. Loop's developed a technology that we sell PET resin and polyester fiber back to the CPG companies, the beverage companies, food companies, apparel companies, anyone who uses PET plastic or polyester fiber for their packaging needs or their textile needs. Our technology breaks down waste PET plastic and polyester fibers into their base chemical building blocks, or monomers. One of those is dimethyl terephthalate, the other one is monoethylene glycol. Today, those two are manufactured through fossil fuels. DMT starts off as crude oil, MEG starts off as natural gas. Those two are put together during polymerization to make PET plastic and then go on and make a final product. What we do is we go back and we pick the final product, the waste product, and we break the molecular chain that holds the DMT and the MEG together. We release them in their singular form, and then we purify them back into a brand new piece of plastic. That's how we can take old polyester carpets, Under Armour tops, Nike Air Jordans, turn them into water bottles for customers, or vice versa. Everything we produce is 100% recycled content, food-grade plastic, certified by the FDA, Health Canada, and the European regulators. Technology highlights. Over the last 8 years, Loop's built out a technology that produces the highest quality, virgin quality PET resin and polyester fiber made from 100% recycled content. We don't blend it. It's 100% recycled, infinitely recyclable. So now packaging and textiles can be recycled an infinite amount of time. There's no degradation in quality. We remove all the colorings, all the additives, all the dyes, all the impurities. That's really what Loop's technology is built to handle over again, which is very important for customers. We can go fiber to fiber, fiber to bottle, bottle to fiber. And the key to that technology and our intellectual property is a low heat, no added pressure depolymerization process. The concept of depolymerization has been around for 60 years. The reason it's never been commercially successful is that every attempt at depolymerization is always done at high temperature. usually in the range of 260 to 300 degrees centigrade. To be able to break apart the plastic, the molecular chain, get to the monomers, loop technology does that below 85 degrees Celsius. And that's really key when you're talking about recycling, because the incoming material to our process is basically garbage. And you're going to have all different types of impurities in there. You might have rocks, glass, ketchup, mayonnaise, if it's polyfiber, buttons and zippers, other types of plastic. And if you're using any type of a high temperature process that breaks down at high temperature or melts it with all those different feedstocks coming in, you'll get contamination. And that's key. That's what distinguishes Loop's technology to anything that's ever been done before. Upcycling allows us to take very low value feedstock. All of the feedstock that we process in our plant today, it's destined either for landfill, incineration, or worse, in natural environments like oceans or rivers. Food safe, we have FDA, Health Canada, and REACH certification in Europe for food grade plastic, and we have over 200 patents globally. How it works: we take the waste plastic on the left side, bottles, carpet fibers, clothing, any type of material. Really, we're agnostic to the input. As long as there's PET and polyester, we'll be able to get that down and break it into DMT and MEG. Then, once those are purified back into their purest forms, we can rebuild them into a brand new piece of plastic that can go into any final product, either a bottle or a textile. The whole key is that second step. That's really where our technology and the low temperature process takes place. Worldwide consumption of PET. Addressable market for PET polymer consumption is huge. For PET packaging in 2022, you're talking about a $76 billion market, growing about 4%. And that was a tremendous market, and that's just packaging. On the flip side, the polyester fiber marketplace is even larger. You're talking about a $103 billion market. Think about all the fabrics that are made through polyfiber, running shoes, apparel, upholstery, home furnishings. All that supply chain exists in Asia. And that's why our partnership with SK Geocentric is so important. Loop now can bring circularity to the clothing and the textile industries, working with companies like Lululemon, Nike, to be able to fully recycle and create a circular loop for their plastic with a polyfiber waste. Needless to say, there's a tremendous opportunity for us in the Asian markets. Government mandates driving recycled demand. A lot of the demand for sustainability and recycled content is being driven these days by legislation and government mandates. Europe has basically declared war on petroleum-based plastics. They introduced the EU plastics levy of 800 euros per ton on plastic that can't be recycled. They have a 50% recycled content and packaging mandate by 2025. Canada has zero plastic waste by 2030, 50% recycled content by 2030. Other countries around the world doing similar. Our technology is in need to be able to help these countries meet their targets and for brand owners to achieve these commitments. There's tremendous pressure right now on the CPG companies to get more recycled content. They want to be good corporate citizens. They're getting in front of these government mandates that push the envelope, helping them change the way they're thinking. We're working locksteps with governments and the CPG companies to help them achieve their goals. Feedstock sourcing. Let me get this slide up. This is really where Loop has tremendous advantage. Our technology allows for new PET waste streams to be recycled. A lot of the material that goes into our process cannot be recycled today by everyone else. If you have a process where you're using high heat, pressure, or you're melting plastic, or if you're mechanical recycling, you cannot use the type of low quality feedstock that is perfect for Loop's process, i.e. opaque plastic, clamshells, ocean plastic, all of the waste that comes from the mechanical recycling industry, carpets, clothing, all that type of material that can't be recycled efficiently. It works really well in our process. An example that I like to use is Europe. A lot of these plastics, they sort them out of the facilities. There's no home for them. Nobody wants them, so they go to incinerators. Incineration is very expensive, creates a tremendous amount of CO2. There's an abundance of waste plastic out there today that's getting landfilled or incinerated that can now be diverted into our process. And it's really exciting because it gets us to be pioneers in creating this entire new supply chain that doesn't exist today. Working with companies like Suez, our partner in France, Veolia in Asia, we're starting to really get into the supply chain. It's one of the most exciting parts of the business for us. Terrebonne, all of the design, all of the work comes from here. This is our production facility in Terrebonne, Quebec. In industrial technology, you really have to take the time to build these things out properly. And that's what we've been able to do meticulously over the last 7 years. Build it from the ground up, starting off at pre-lab scale, lab scale, pilot scale. We've invested over $150 million in the technology, optimized every piece of equipment for efficiency, operability, de-risking the scale up. All of the unit operations are coming from here. So if you think about Loop's technology, you break it down into depolymerization, which is done in the reactors, filtration to eliminate impurities and separate liquids from solids, and then purification. All of those different sections have been operated here at our facility. We've been producing 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. We have all the learnings that allow us to scale up, and all of the equipment in these facilities is less than a 5x scale up to a larger size. So if you're talking about reactors, it's a 4.5x scale up, filters a 5x scale up, distillation columns, similar 5x scale up. We've done a great job in mitigating all type of risk in this scale up. And that's why our partners, Suez in Europe and SK in Asia, are so confident in the scale up as well. We also use this facility for full R&D capabilities for customers. We'll have customers that want to do a trial of a certain feedstock. We'll do that for them. We're running campaigns with different materials, like taking a couple of truckloads of ocean plastic, turning that into product for our customers. We have full R&D capabilities for any one of our customers or partners who want to use the facilities. Brand activations. Loop is currently servicing over 25 companies out of our facility in Terrebonne, Quebec. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can see that this is the first commercially produced, chemical recycled, 100% recycled content bottle that's ever been available for sale. This bottle came available for sale in South Korea last year. It was the result of a partnership between Loop and Evian, the premier water brand in the world. It's noting that this is the first time any chemical recycled package has been available for sale in the marketplace. Not just Loop's technology, but any technology. This is a crucial milestone for us, and we're very proud of the partnership with Evian. Following this milestone, we also formed partnerships with L'Occitane, recently Garnier, and On Shoes. These are our manufacturing facilities. This is the Infinite Loop manufacturing design. This will be built in Asia with SK and in Europe with our European partner, Suez and SK. It's the same equipment, the same design that's being leveraged for all of these facilities. Design one, build many. We really build these as a design one, build many. There's 70,000 ton per year capacity. We chose that capacity because we believe today that that's the perfect size to build one of these in different countries around the world. If you go bigger than this, you'll be bringing in plastic waste from other places, other countries. We strongly believe that in the future, waste plastic will not move as freely as it has in the past. You're not going to be able to bring in waste plastic from one country to another country and have another country deal with someone else's problems. We'll already see the regulatory changes happening. If you go bigger than that, you'll have supply chain issues. We feel that this technology is built to be an infrastructure play where each country will need a Loop facility to be able to recycle all the material that cannot be recycled. SK Geocentric, wholly owned subsidiary, SK Geocentric of SK. In June of 2021, they took a 10% equity stake in Loop at $12 a share. Their stated goal by 2027 is to be the largest plastics recycler in the world. They've invested $260 million in advanced recycling technologies. Loop is their single largest investment. Loop and SK joint venture will start commercializing the technology across Asia in the fourth quarter of this year. It's an amazing partnership for us. We're leveraging SK's operations excellence, construction, engineering, technology, knowledge. These guys run big petrochemical plants around the world. Leveraging all of that with them, leveraging the financial strength, all of the debt financing, all the capital needed for these facilities as far as the debt is going to be provided by SK. Loop has nothing to do to participate in as far as the debt. We'll provide 49% of equity for the projects. So Loop has a 49% ownership stake. Loop has 51. The 1% trade-off is for them providing the capital and the operations. The most interesting part of this operation for me is that Loop also receives a recurring licensing fee as a percentage of top line revenue for each facility. So the JV will be paying Loop a royalty every year. The first facility will be built in Ulsan, South Korea. We're breaking ground in the fourth quarter. It's on an existing petrochemical site. Right behind that is Japan, Vietnam, and in China. SK Echo Engineering, as mentioned, this is part of SK Group, second largest conglomerate in Korea, $185 billion market cap company. There's quite a few facilities across Asia that can be built. There's huge demand. 60% of the world's population lives there. 70% of the PET global demand is in Asia. So there's a tremendous amount of material that is available to be recycled. I'd also say that the Asian market is really the exception to that 70,000 tons that I talked about, because there's so many places where there's 30, 40, 50 million people living in a very close geographical area. And that's where you can start building out bigger facilities. So with SK, we're planning the first one at 70, but then we're moving up to 120,000 tons in certain regions because of the population and the density of the population that exists to support those facilities. Let's see, Infinite Loop France. Again, French project, same design, same capacity. The site was chosen in Saint-Avold, France. This is a fantastic project supported by the French government. This project was put together by our partnerships with the French brand owners, Danone, L'Oreal, L'Occitane, all of these companies, strong supporters of Loop. We've been working with them for a very long period of time. They wanted their packaging to come from the waste in France. That's how this partnership was born. Targeted economics. Not only is it good for the environment, really helps provide a problem, but it's also economically very sound. For every 70,000 ton output facility, your revenues are estimated to between 190, 225 million a year, really depending upon where you are in the world and the price of waste plastic. All of our pricing formulas start off at the waste plastic price. We can hedge against waste plastic. We also eliminate the ups and downs or the booms and bust cycles of the fossil fuel industry, which traditional plastics have to deal with. We don't deal with that because we have a much flatter curve, because we're using the waste plastic price as the starting point for our formulas. We sign 5, 10-year supply agreements with the big CPG companies. We say there's much more demand than supply for this type of material out there because we're the only ones that can provide that quality, that virgin quality to the marketplace. Everyone else is limited on the quality side, especially mechanical recycling, where you'll see bottles being dyed blue or green or hazy gray. That's because of the quality difference. Our cost structure, pretty basic, 40% is feedstock, so that even though there's no value to the feedstock today, we're assigning a value to it because eventually someone's going to be charging us a ton of money for material once they know that we're making money from it. We spend a lot of time thinking about the supply chain and how we can secure this material well in advance of building out a facility. 30% is variable cost, which is really transformation cost from waste plastic to brand new plastic. Then fixed cost, it's more of the labor side. 30% is labor, insurance, things like that. So we're targeting 45 EBITDA margins for the project. So pretty good economics as well. Long-term goals. We have a stated goal by 2030 to have 1 million metric tons of capacity for sale through our different partnerships or fully owned facilities. I think that's a pretty attainable goal. We're looking to be able to exceed that, especially in markets such as Asia, where there's tremendous population and demand for this product. What's great is that we have global customers. The customers that we're going to be servicing in France are the same ones that we will be servicing Asia, because they need supply from everywhere. So we have a much smaller pool of customers, and we have global reach, which I think is really exciting for us to have a tremendous amount of co-branding. In each one of these bottles, there'll be a co-branding. There'll be an Evian bottle with Loop's brand on it. You know, having Loop's logo on the packaging, replacing that recycling sign, that's really key for us. Liquidity and ownership. At the end of the last quarter, we had 20 million, no debt. Our burn now is down to 2 million a quarter. Nothing tremendously exciting in those slides. Investment highlights. Like I said, great technology, definitely unique. Low temperature gives us a huge advantage. Big addressable market. We have first mover advantage in the space. We're already producing material, selling it to customers, providing it to them for marketing. So we're the only ones that have proved it out at scale. Building brand value through co-marketing and co-branding with the CPG company is really exciting, attractive for us. Great economics. Global manufacturing rollout with partners SK in Asia, Suez. I think you're going to see others. We're in discussion with other companies as well for different parts of the world. So there's a tremendous amount of demand for this today. Design one, build many. Engineering and construction philosophy allows us to replicate the design very quickly in different parts of the world. And yeah, look, it's been a great journey so far. And I guess I'll stop there and answer questions.
Great job, Kevin. We do have quite a few questions for you. Let's start with a question from me. I just want to know a little bit of the recent milestones that you've achieved with Loop Industries.
It's a great question, Anna. I think first and foremost, the JV was signed and finalized with SK back at the end of April, beginning of May. The next milestone will be for funding for the project in Korea. Loop has always gone out and gotten funding from strategic partnerships. We'll do that again. Funding, we will not be going to the marketplace for funding because there's such demand for people who want to invest in Loop. We'll finalize funding, my CEO said, by our next conference call, which is in the second week of October. And then after that, the most important thing is getting shovels in the ground or breaking ground on the facility, which will be before year end. So those are our next two most important milestones.
Thank you for that. Question from Eugene Vega. He wants you to break down the final product to its original matters. Who are the customers? How do they buy? Is it in some sort of measurable quantity?
It's a great question. First of all, we signed contracts with the big CPG companies. We have contracts right now with Danone, L'Oreal, L'Occitane, On Shoes. We signed 5-year take or pay contracts, 5 to 10 year contracts with these companies. We anticipate by 2025, when mandates kick in and we're up and running, that we'll have the 80% of the facility sold out. We'll leave 20% of the spot market for the marketplace. The first part of his question, what is the matter? I'm not sure I understood that question. Could you ask me that again?
Well, I think he was just wanting you to possibly break down the product.
Okay. Well, what we do is we break down waste PET plastic, and it can come from bottles, carpet fibers, clothings, any type of material. We're agnostic to the product. If there's PET and there's polyester in there, We're going to break it down into its original base chemicals, which are dimethyl terephthalate and monoethylene glycol. Once we break that down and we purify them back into their purest forms, we then can rebuild them into a brand new piece of plastic, and that can go into any final product. It can go into a bottle or to a textile. And what it is we sell the PET resin back to the CPG companies, the food companies, the beverage companies, the apparel companies, and that's where it comes from.
Fascinating. Follow up from Derek Sullivan. What is the cost to acquire this garbage, as you put it? And what's your cost to break it down versus the revenue you receive for it?
It's a great question. Right now, there is no cost because right now you can basically get this material for free. They'll take it away from you. But at the end of the day, we know that when we're up and running, we will, be paying a price for it. We're assigning a 45% cost structure to the feedstock itself. We've identified over 2,100 companies, okay, that are suppliers of feedstock. And from that, we've nailed it down to 75. We're also partnering, if you take a look at the French project, for instance, Suez, which is the largest waste management company in France, they will be suppliers of the feedstock. In Asia, SK, our partnership in Asia, they will be suppliers of the feedstock. So I hope that answers the question.
It did. Jackie wants to know about the environmental impact or footprint of your breakdown process of the raw materials.
Ask me the question again. I'm sorry. The environmental.
Yeah, talk about the environmental impact or the footprint of what you're doing, the breakdown.
Well, I mean, obviously, look, I think the biggest thing is that from the environment standpoint is we're taking waste PET plastic and polyester fiber that's otherwise destined for landfill or destined for incineration. And we have the ability to break that down and recycle it again and again and again. Virgin quality, infinitely recyclable. If you take a look at the manufacturing industry, for instance, they are breaking things down using high heat, high temperature. When they break that down, it can be broken down once or twice, but ultimately there's no circularity. It's going to end up in either landfill or have to be incinerated. Okay, we have this infinitely recyclable. We bring complete circularity to PET plastic and polyester fiber, which is obviously huge for recycling in the environment.
And Angelina wants you to talk about your relationship with Asia, China, and India specifically. So how are you benefiting from them financially? Are they large customers of Loop's? Talk about India and China specifically, if you can.
Let's talk about Asia. First and foremost, we have to look at Asia as a whole because of our joint venture with SK. And as I had mentioned earlier, SK's stated goal is to be the largest plastics recycler in the world by 2027. Okay, they have exclusivity or right of first refusal in the Asian market. Okay, their plans and that JV encompasses every facility that we're going to be building there. We're starting out in Ulsan, South Korea. We break ground in the fourth quarter of this year, as I had mentioned. Right behind that is Japan, in Vietnam. And to put this in a perspective for you, Anna, in Vietnam alone, Nike's manufacturing facility puts out 30,000 tons of waste a year annually that has nowhere to be recycled, that works perfect in Loop's process. And then, of course, last but not least, is China. We have not moved into that market. That will be, that's right now SK's plans. That's the fourth one on the board. In regards to India, great market. We've been approached by people in India. The CapEx to build one of these facilities in India is significantly less, almost half. You could easily put 4 of these facilities in Asia. And as I mentioned before, Suez and SK are not the only large companies that are approaching Loop to build out facilities, but we have been approached in India, and we'll see what happens there. But right now, there's nothing concrete, but obviously will be a tremendous market for us.
Thank you for that. Question from Jay, specifically speaking about SK's investment. Does it include an investment and a credit line? Are they your bank, or can they be used as your bank moving forward?
SK is not a bank for us. They took a 10% equity stake in Loop in June of 21 at $12 a share. They're a great partner. They also have the ability to ratchet that up to 15 and then 20%. They are not a bank, but what they do is they provide all of the debt for the operations, which is huge for us. We're leveraging all of that with them. We're leveraging their financial strength. The capital needed for the facilities, as far as the debt, is going to be provided by SK. Loop has nothing to do to participate in as far as the debt. We're going to provide 59% ownership for the projects. We've got a 59% ownership stake. They have a 51%. And then in addition, as I mentioned before, another exciting part of that is we also have a royalty fee, which I think is great for Loop. It's a tremendous joint venture for us.
And last question, Kevin, from Dallas Fletcher. Do you have any guidance in reference to sales over the next 12 months?
Loop it's a great question. Loop is a 2025 story. Okay, we break ground in Ulsan this fall. It's 18 months, then 6-month ramp up. So you're looking at 2025. And right now it's this is an opportunity to be buying the stock in the company. You're looking at guidance. We don't have any significant revenues right now because we're ramping up production.
Perfect. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. This is a very fascinating industry you're in. We look forward to you coming back on our conference and giving us some updates.
Thank you, Anna.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care.
Okay, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back.